when I look at these guys and I see the way they're built, I'm kind of more like, I'm not going to a spot of like, holy fuck, man, this kid's probably on a lot of juice.
So we were talking about Nsima having it naturally versus someone else maybe getting enhanced and then getting to the same thing. People can get behind one if they're quote unquote honest versus...
I think you should be able to get behind both. If you know, you just think, I mean, if we were thinking about it logically, I mean, both people have to work hard for it.
Mm-hmm. And I do
Again,
like...
lying is like a fucking side thing that is fucked up.
Yeah. And I mean, this doesn't okay it or whatever. Like this is still everyone's still going to be pissed off. But like, I like what you said. You were just like, yeah, steroids do make it easier. We all have access to it. Like, why are you mad at me because I went down that road? Like, you can too. Like, there's nobody's really.
You can either choose to do that, or you can choose to say, I'm going to stay in this pocket and I'm going to do what I believe is right, and I'm going to work hard, and I'm going to continue to make progress. There's nobody in strength training, and there's nobody in fitness that would think that you can't have continued progress. Now, the progress is going to change here and there, but you can make progress for a really fucking long time. If you start at 15, you can make progress into your 40s and into your 50s, and now we're seeing more and more people push that boundary out a little further. And maybe the progress is slightly different. Maybe you switch to more endurance because you're not as strong, or you don't want to lift those same weights anymore, or whatever the case might be. But we all know we can improve. We all know that we can get better. And so I think whether you choose to do them or choose not to do them, you just pick a lane and then you try to continue down that path and just try to keep shit positive the best you can, I think.
Yeah. One thing that I think is important too, though, is I think people underestimate the amount of development that happens when you're a kid, which is why I'm happy that we talk a lot about like nutrition and habits from childhood and how important that is for parents to understand for their kids. But like, for example, Brian DaCosta is another person. If you look up Brian DaCosta on Instagram, he's someone who gets used to being on drugs all the time because he's maintained a lean physique.
He gets really lean.
He gets really lean. He can stay pretty lean, but he's been doing stuff since he was a kid. He didn't start doing compound movements until 7 years. He was until his 7th year of lifting, and then he was able to gain a lot of strength. But I think people think that certain people have had it, but I don't think people recognize. Like, look at him. People don't recognize how long some of these guys have been doing, maybe not just weightlifting, but athletics. You know, guys who have been men and women.
Is he on the fake natty list? Like, does people try to blast him all the time?
Yeah, people try to blast him all the time.
First comment, drug-free question mark, and I'm sure everyone's going to be like,
yeah.
And then an estimate of like about how much do you think he weighs?
Brian, I'm not sure. I
don't really know his height.
I'm not sure of his height, but if you just look at his physique, whatever height he's at the upper end of that probably weight. Like if he was 5'9", I would assume maybe he's 190 or something.
Let me ask you this: I mean? Who do you think is like really overthinking this, or who's like thinking like when I look at these guys and I see the way they're built, I'm kind of more like, hey, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like, that's really cool that guy can do that. Or seeing that kid deadlift 700 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
The place I'm not going to a spot of like, holy fuck, man, this kid's probably on a lot of juice. Who do you think is doing that? Like, is it younger kids you think are doing that, or?
Well, I think we got to remember how new social media is, because I was thinking about this the other day. When we were lifting, we would look at magazines, or we would look at internet forums or whatever, but we were never able to literally interact with the people that we were fans of. So for example, I couldn't interact with Greg Plitt. I couldn't see, what is Greg Plitt doing each day? What is he posting up each day? What is he showing? I couldn't do that. But now I think that there is, because of the access you have to certain people, and you can see how they're working out, they're selling programs, you can see what they're doing every single day. There's a level of closeness that people feel. And I think that kind of warps how they look at these people. Because now it's like, you know, some people listen to the podcast and they're like, wow, I feel like we're friends. Or Joe Rogan, they feel like they know him, right? And I think that makes it easier to, number one, if you don't like what somebody's doing and you see it all the time, I think it makes it easier to be like, oh, they're just, you know, they're lying about it. And also, I think the people that do that are people that are newer to this whole thing. But I get it. if you were on year 2 or 3 and then you see a Brian DaCosta, you see a Russ Swole or whatever, and they're putting out content every day. Power Project family, how's it going? Now, on this podcast, we talk all about recovery, which is why 8 Sleep are the beds that we sleep on. Now, 8 Sleep is the Tesla of beds. Not only does it track your heart rate, your HRV, your tosses and turns, it also tracks how long you've been in each sleep cycle, and the mattress does something amazing. It changes its temperature through the night to make sure that in each sleep cycle, you're getting the optimum sleep for you. Now, I know you guys are interested in checking them out, so head to 8sleep.com/powerproject, and you'll automatically be able to save $150 off of your Pod Pro cover or your Pod Pro cover and mattress combo. Check them out. Enjoy the video. It seems like a goal that's very far away, even though we do know that your goal should be to become the best version of yourself and whatever you're trying to do, you're inspired by something they're doing, and that something is going to be decades away for you if you're trying to achieve that. So I think it's just it's odd. But then also, I was thinking about this too. Greg, and for example, some people make these natty or not videos, and I was talking to this Atlas Power Shrug guy. And Andrew, I sent you an IG
He gets
page.
a little angry about people on gear, right?
Yeah, Atlas Power Shrug. Check his page out. He does a lot of heavy exerters and shit.
He's very strong.
He's very strong. But I was messaging him back and forth because, you know, Greg will make these videos and say, oh, these people have genetics that are 99.9% and blah, blah, blah. And as much as I understand that, going back to what I mentioned about the people in Africa, and this isn't just about Black people, but this is also about just the U.S. population. But I'm going to specifically talk about Africans. This guy's from Ghana. His gym, you can see his weights are real. His rates are real cheap. He can't afford much, and there are a lot of Africans that train out of his gym. But the African Americans in the United States currently are most of them are the individuals that came here on the transatlantic slave trade. So you have a certain percentage of people that are here now, but a vast majority of those people are still in Africa and still in all these other places, which you do not see. They cannot become influencers. So when Greg is saying someone like Simeon Panda is on drugs and all of this, as much as I can understand it, I've seen people that are bigger than him. I've seen people that, like, if we were able to take more people from there and bring them to the United States, there would be more Black people in the NFL. Hey, I know you guys enjoyed the video, so like, comment, subscribe, and head to the Power Project Discord below. Talk to y'all later.